Welcome back, fam. This is Richard Buford of Adrenaline Rush Sports and Fitness, and I'm going to go over some lifting technique for you today. I just want you to remember that don't let ego take over how much you should be lifting, okay? I want your form to dictate how much you're lifting. So if you're not able to keep some of the positions that I'm going to show you, like the power position, through your lifts, through your pulls and things like that, then it's probably a little bit too much for your body, all right? How you lift the weights is going to determine how much better it's going to make you with your athletic performance, okay? So just make sure that you stick to the form and learn and rep what I'm teaching you, all right? It's not going to happen overnight with just one repetition or anything like that, but just make sure you keep working it over and over again and go with a light bar, all right? The lighter the bar, the better, all right? So just make sure that the weight that you're using is not affecting how you're going to learn how to do the correct technique. All right, so your first movement that you should know is the power position. And the power position, I'll show you both ways because you're going to need to see it. So your power position, your feet are going to be shoulder width apart. And then your first movement is your hips going back, all right? So the knees does not travel forward, all right? So the hips go back right there, stick it right there, and then have your arms come back, push your shoulders away from your ears, and then contract your abdominals like you're trying to expand everything. So contract your abdominals so it kind of like pushes the air out of your mouth. So right there, all right? So this power position, you're gonna need this position in everything that you do. Just think of like when you jump, when you squat, or when you're lifting, you're gonna need to be in this position at one point, all right? So another thing that you can do is have bands around your knees, and that is going to activate your glutes. If you have inactive glutes, then your back is gonna start hurting. If your back is hurting, it can also be your abdominals are not activated properly. So again, later on, I'll teach you how to activate both of those muscular groups, all right? So the power position from this angle is right here, and I'm actively pushing my knees apart, pushing my hands back, pushing my shoulders back, and every time I'm breathing out, I'm contracting my abdominals even more, all right? So breathing in, breathing out, all right? You should be able to stand in this position for a minute with the band around your knees because you just don't want to be in this position right here. You want to keep those knees out above the ankles, all right? And again, you don't want your knees to be forward right here as much as you can help it. It depends on like how tall you are and how long your levers are. But in a perfect world, you want your shoulders, knees, and ankles lined up, all right? Just like that, all right? That way your center of gravity is right there in line and you're gonna be able to stay balanced. Okay? Your form should dictate how much weight you're going to lift, but when we're doing these, when you first start this out, just start with a little PVC pipe or a wooden bar or something like that. I have this bar, it's only 27 pounds, so practice on something that is very, very light. All right, so let's get into lifting. Remember that power position. I want you to see it while I'm lifting. So when you're in that power position, right here, and then all you're gonna do is drop your arms and then grab the bar, all right? The first thing that you should do is walk all the way up to the bar, and it should be touching your ankles, okay? Now this bar is a little bit closer to the ground than it should be, but you're gonna be right here, and then you're gonna keep your back flat, and you're gonna grab the bar, all right? I'll show you from the side. All right, so you're gonna walk into it right here, feet shoulder width apart, and then you're gonna grab outside of your legs, keeping that back flat, and then you're gonna lift right there, all right? So now this lift right there to the bottom of your kneecaps is called the first pull, all right? And the first pull is meant for you to take control of the weight. You should not be snatching the weight off of the ground, all right? It should be a nice, steady pace movement. That's because your body is getting ready and it's just initially felt all the weight. So you don't want to snatch the weight and shock your body while you're doing the first pull, all right? So the first pull is slow and steady up to the kneecaps, and then after the kneecaps, it's gonna be all power. So, and that is the second pull. After it passes your kneecaps, that's the second pull. So we're gonna do the first pull, and come back down, and I want you to do this 10 times, right there. I want you to keep your hips down, and mainly just bring your shoulders up. Okay, 10 times, just repping it. All right, your legs are gonna get tired? Yes, they are. So just make sure that you're able to do these at least 10 times, all right, with a light bar or a wooden stick or something like that, all right? Cool. I'm gonna put on some weight, and then I'm gonna show you everything else. All right, we've established the first pull. Now we're gonna go into the second pull. The second pull is going to be a quick movement. What you want to do is have your weight between your arch and your heels, and you want to squeeze your glutes, bring your hips forward, all right? And while you're doing all of that, this is gonna seem like a lot, but while you're doing all of that, you're gonna pull the bar into your hips, okay? So I'll show you the first pull and then the second pull, all right? So the first pull right here, set your shoulders down and back, abs tight, come up slow, and then, and you wanna pull the bar into your hips, all right? So I'll just show you a little slower right here, and then you wanna pull the bar into your hips, bring your hips forward, squeezing your glutes, pushing your heels through the floor, all right? From here, you're going to have your power, all right? So when you come up, right here, right there, all right? So you wanna blast up as powerfully as you can towards the ceiling. You never wanna lean back because that's gonna put pressure on your spine, all right? You don't want any of that. So keep your rib, you can think of it as keep your rib cage tucked in or keep your abdominals tight, same thing. So you're gonna make sure you do that through the whole movement. So the first move, first pull, second pull, right there. So you wanna breathe in and breathe out, right there, all right? So just make sure that you push through your heels, squeeze your glutes, drive your hips forward, and come up while you're breathing out. And you're gonna have a nice movement. It should feel smooth, all right? Cool. So in Olympic lifting, the first and second pull is called a clean pull. Some people call it a deadlift. There's slight differences in deadlift and clean pull, but a clean pull are more for athletes, all right? What we want to do now is show you the progression on how to do everything else. So what we're going to do first is a front squat, okay? So a front squat, we want to first have our elbows up and keep our elbows up. We don't never want our elbows to point down because that's going to put too much pressure on your wrists, especially as the weight gets heavier. So as you're doing your front squat, you want to breathe in, breathe out. All right, breathe in, breathe out. You don't want your back to round as you do this. So again, this is core strength. All right, I'm gonna just show you from the front right here, keeping your chest up. Make sure your elbows stay up. Breathe out. All right, as I'm going down, I'm pushing my knees apart and pushing my hips back as far as I can. All right, so right here. And yes, in a perfect world, I would want you to be able to get down that low and have that mobility with your hips. So I'm gonna show you the catch. So we're gonna go from the hang position. So that's just your power position with your arms down. And the bar is gonna go right below your kneecaps, all right? Now remember, you have to keep that form of that flat back, so you don't want your back to be rounded. And basically you just gotta contract your lats, all right? So these are loose lats and these are tight lats, All right, so you're gonna be right there. And then the catch is going to be right here. The catch is gonna be right here. So when you are bringing the bar up, make sure you make the transition really fast, all right? You have to really punch those elbows forward. So when you're going for the catch from that hang position right here, you gotta be quick and fast with those elbows, all right? You don't want the bar to float or anything when you're lifting that weight, okay? So another thing is that you wanna use your power to pull. Now, if you're doing it correctly, the bar should be moving up, just depending on how much weight and how much power that you have. Like if I let it go, let me just show you for example, if I let the bar go, it'll jump out of my hands. I didn't throw it or anything, I just kept my arm straight. But when it floats up, you wanna help the pull. It's not an upper body exercise, but really you're just keeping the momentum on the bar just to get up under it, okay? So when you're pulling the bar up, you wanna get that power and get up under it. So the other thing is that you wanna keep the bar close to your body. So if the bar comes out as you're pulling it up, if you don't pull it into your hips and the bar stays out here, you're gonna go with the weight, all right? And you do not want that. That makes the weight heavier, and that's why you're going to it, because your center of gravity is off, because there's a lot of weight in front of you, all right? So when you're coming up, make sure you keep the weight right there, coming straight up, drive the elbows, and then coming up, all right? Keep it really close, really tight, and make sure that you have good shoulder mobility and also good range of motion through your hips. So just for review, out of everything that I've told you so far, we've covered the clean pull, the power clean, I just didn't put a name to it, and the hang clean. So I'm gonna just go through it again and you're gonna be able to see it, okay? So this is the clean pull. Remember, you're gonna put your shins all the way on the bar, grab outside, back flat, first pull, second pull, all right? So the next one is the power clean. The power clean is from the floor, and then you're gonna catch it after you pull it into your hips and then get up under it. So you wanna get that momentum from your hips, and it's gonna look like this. All right, and then we have the hang clean, which just goes from the bottom of your kneecaps right there. You're still gonna pull it into your hips, but you're just gonna come right there. Now, like I was saying, I'm not gonna turn my athletes into weightlifters, but if you feel comfortable, your power clean will look like this. So you'll be right here, and then you'll stand up, okay? Same with the hang clean, right here, and then stand up, okay? So you have 3 exercises that you're able to do. Just keep on repping it, because you're not gonna be able to get it overnight. Some of you are experienced, but your form needs to be corrected, all right? So make sure that that bar is staying close to your body. Make sure your hips are back and your knees are not forward. If your knees are forward, your joints in your knee is gonna take a lot of impact, okay? And you do not want that. That's how people get ACL tears or just start building upon some kind of a knee, ankle, or hip injury. Just remember that form is key, and your form is gonna determine how effective it's gonna be on your athletic performance. So just because you can get through the lift doesn't mean that you got all the effects of the lift, if that makes sense. So make sure that you're able to keep the form and go as high as your core or your form will let you, okay? And that way you'll reduce injury and also you'll increase your performance. You may not realize it, but contracting and activating your glutes and your abdominals is going to help protect your back. Most of the times when you hurt your back, it's not because your back is weak, it's because your back isn't getting any help from your glutes or your abdominals. So just make sure that your glutes and abdominals are fired up first before you start your workout. And I'm gonna teach you a couple of things that you can do. So this one is real simple. You're not gonna see a big change visually right now, but what you wanna do is just contract both of your glutes, all right? So you're gonna have the dimples in the side of your hips, contracting both glutes as hard as you can and hold it for 30 seconds. And then after 30 seconds, now this is where it's gonna get difficult. What you're gonna do is relax one glute and keep the other relaxed. All right, yeah. All right, now I got it. All right, so one glute is contracted, one glute is relaxed. All right, this is not gonna be an easy thing to accomplish. You're gonna hold that for 30 seconds and then you're going to switch, okay? And you see how your body's probably gonna start wiggling around trying to get the feeling of how it should be, but just make sure that you be patient with yourself, okay? So, and then after that 30 seconds, then you're gonna fire both again, and you should feel a difference in how much you can contract your glutes, all right? So the next thing are activating your abdominals, and what we're gonna do is push our lower back into the ground so there's no space up under your back. Push your shoulders down and back, or just reach your hands towards your hips or your knees. And then what we're gonna do is breathe out and contract our abdominals as much as we can, all right? The harder you breathe out, the more you're gonna be able to contract your abdominals. And what I want you to do is just do this for 10 repetitions, all right? So you're gonna breathe in, then breathe out, and you're gonna do all of that while keeping your lower back on the ground. Now, take your time breathing in, because when you breathe in, your back is going to want to come up. But what we want to do is just keep our abdominals contracted while we're breathing in, and then contract it more as we're breathing out, okay? And again, you're going to do 10 of those. So just do 2 sets of both of those before you do your workout, and your glutes and your abdominals are going to be activated and ready to help out your back when you're doing your exercises.